All right, we're back. We're live. I don't know if you didn't catch the show last night for Foolish Fridays. We talked about AI and people marrying AI chatbots, people dating AI, 10 million users on the platform for Replica. We also talked about um, AI babies. We also got into a review of Ramit on I think I can make you rich. I think that's the name. Um, and the latest couple, which was they could be Spanish. They could be Spanish, but I think they're black couple. Um, and what the guy stands for is how he treated his wife, so forth and so on. We also just really kind of talked about finances in general, what that looks like, what we're doing, where we're at, so forth and so on. See, we got the esoteric career woman. Hello, how you doing? Don't oh Lord, don't oh Lord. We also talked about the most important thing that we really talked about outside of the AI is where do we stand as a black population? 47.2 million. I think we make up 14%. What is our average earning income? What does that look like? We already know in 2053 we're going to be at zero. I was doing research and I didn't finish it off. Like, what's the average rent among counties in the U in the among counties in where we mostly live? We saw on the map last night 50%, 50%, 56% of us, when I say 56%, I'm talking black, live in the southern states, right? 10% out west, I think 17% Midwest, 16% in the north. Let me double verify my stats, make sure I'm saying that right. Double verify my stats. Let me look this up real quick. What's going on? You thought I went to Invest Fest? We're gonna talk about Invest Fest. We're gonna talk about Invest Fest. I started to go. Tim, what's going on? Thank you for coming to your first live. Thank you for coming to your first live. We got a lot of conversations today. A lot of conversations today. I am looking for. Okay, here it is, right here. It was Pew Research, facts about the population, right here. All right, so I went through this last night. I'm not gonna go through this again. I'm just gonna point out on the geography here. Yeah, so 17% in the northeast, 17% in the west, 10%. I mean, in the Midwest, and 10% in the West, and 56% of us live in the South. I've always said this before, and I say it again. If you ever want to wipe out most of the black population, if you want to corrupt the food, if you want to contaminate the water, if you want to do anything, I would do it in the South. I'm just being honest. Um, what cities are in the South that we mostly major populate? Well, that's in this article too. When we talk about the South and when we talk about where we actually at, right here, let me blow that up a little bit more. Come it down. Eh, so you can really see it right here. So we got New York at 3.9, Atlanta at 2.2, Washington, D.C. at 1.8, Chicago at 1.7, and Philly at 1.4. If I want to take you out, I'm going to hit the top five cities. That's what I'm going to do. Just being honest. So when we are centered and clustered together, the question is, what are we doing together? What money are we making together? What money are we making together? What are we building? What land are we buying? If we're all clustered together, what are we actually doing? What is our actual worth in those cities? What politics are we involved in? Are we changing things for our schools? Are we building new schools? Are we getting funding for our schools? What are the colleges looking like in those areas to promote and build a pipeline from elementary school, even pre-K, all the way through college? What does that look like? Are we are what are our banking systems look like? What else, what do all these things look like? Subdivisions, housing, apartments, what are we looking like? What does that look like? So um I think using this research or using this as just again, go look at the school systems in these major cities where, and in fact, in a majority black on black neighborhoods, and see what are the school systems like, what is the education like, are they ranked A or B? These are things that people say that they move into a city because of X, Y, and Z, but what money is moving in those neighborhoods. What if you look at government contracting on a larger scale, like a larger scale, nationwide, even international scale? I'd say nationwide. Most of your companies, your Boeing's, your Lockheed Martins, your CACI or SAIC, are not in black neighborhoods. We usually have to, we live on the black side or in the black neighborhood, and we commute to the white neighborhood and we buy gas and groceries over there, or we wait till we get back onto our side. But most of our money, most of our travel time and the things that we do are on this side, and we sleep and eat over here, and we may go to neighborhoods locally in our areas. Just my point of reference when I'm looking at it. And then sometimes, depending on the mother or the husband or the family, they'll enroll the child in the neighborhood in which they work in, because it's easier for them to pick the child up. So they may go to the nursery out there, or primary, whatever, even primary care physician, even your doctors and so forth and so on. So, it's just, when I look at these numbers and I look at these stats, I'm always thinking about, okay, well, what's in the neighborhoods in these cities, where, and are we thriving, and what are we doing with it, right? um the other one that came up, of course, is the black household in 2021. The black household is 46,400, right? We know that the median household for the United States is 77,000. We're at 46,000, right? 46,000. And this is 77,000 for the median in the US. So we got to beg the question is, why we're not at the median? What skills are we lacking? What's going on with our own? And this is probably very bland when I say this. What's going on with our household infrastructure, skill wise? Um, because you can have one person in the house make 70, you can have another person in the house making 40, you can have two people in the house making 40 and 40 and making 80. But if I average on average, we're at 46,000, we're not even at the median of 77,000. I know we're struggling, right? Broader analysis shows that 52% of the black U.S. household earn less than 50,000, while 48% make 50,000 or more. 3 in 10 black households, or 31%, make 75,000, including 20% that make up 100,000 or more. And this is where I would love for us to have more conversation. This right here, this number right here should be more, right? It would be great to have 40% of our households making 100,000. But again, that's 20%. But 20% of black households, we got 47 million black people. So how many households do we have, and what percentage of that is 20 of that 20%, right? And then to kind of wrap it all up, and I went on a mad rant, but not really. Um, the educational attainment. Let's look at the line here. I talked about how 42% of blacks have a high school degree, and 26% have a college degree or more. And I talked about how, and I brought up the stats of how obtaining a degree or advanced degree, you out earn, men and women out earn those that make a high school degree by millions, by millions. So now the question is, once you get done with high school, should you go get a degree? And that's been a lot of talk lately about, is school a scam? Is going to school a scam? Right? Is going to school, going to college, an actual scam? So now the question becomes is, if you did go to college, what are you going to college for? The next question should be as well to what networks are you getting into prior to college? What networks are you getting into prior to college? What networks are you achieving while you're in college? And what networks are you achieving after college? And what networks are lifetime networks? What are you doing in those networks? Right? So I think the ownership is on you, but I also think you have to have some type of knowledge of not just advanced degrees or degrees themselves, but what are you going to do with that degree, right? What's the plan? Having a plan. And I talked about this before, and I brought this up before. Um, um, the rich, will say, have already got their kids into college in the seventh grade. They've already gotten their kids into college in the seventh grade. They've already they've already hired uh, companies and mentors to groom their kids from kindergarten, and in the seventh grade they've already determined what college they're going to go to, what they need to do in high school, what programs and networks they need to be a part of, and on top of all of that, what what degree and classes they should be taking. This It's already planned for them, and they're spending millions to do this. We're waiting till we get to the 10th grade, 11th grade, maybe even 12th grade to say, are you going to go to college and what you're going to do? Or we'll rely on some type of sports and maybe some type of music, maybe some type of art or something of that nature to get kids to college or what have you. My point is, it's too late. Like, really, the high school graduation rate need to be up. That's one. Two, the proper, if you want to call it bumpers, right? The proper bumpers should be put in place, right? And all that starts with a lot of things. It starts with parents, it starts with neighborhoods, it starts with your elected officials. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. I'll read some of the comments that you all got. What's going on, Sir Octavius of Williamsburg? He said, esoteric, he said, this is so strange for me to see. I'm a 25-year-old black mom in the South and I make over 50K. I'm really scratching my head here. Why are you scratching your head? What are you scratching your head about? Right? If you don't get a scholarship and refuse to take your course in community college, it could be a scam. Yeah, it could be. It could be a scam if you don't understand where society is moving, where money is flowing. That's why I always bring up, people get tired of me talking about it, but it is what it is. You need to understand where money is flowing. Meaning, if you understand where money is flowing, you understand where skills are at, meaning you understand where CEOs and venture funds and whatever else are investing, so you can be a part of it. Like, it may be a wave, but you could probably catch a couple of thousand off the wave. You would catch a couple of million off the wave. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Building relationships with college advisors is so important. As a first generation, I had to do this, and it's easy. Yep. And the other part is to that that I don't think people realize is, and this is my own personal take. People, a lot of people don't like it when I say this. Stop going and doing everything else everybody doing, right? If everybody else is going over here to that club, don't mean you got to go. Go to a different club. Go do something different. Just every once in a while, just do something different. Go join a golf group. Go join a yacht club. Go join a drone club. Go join a pilots club. Go join those that collect coins and stamps. Go do something different. Just something different that opens you up to different people who are doing different things. Right? Go to different conferences. It may not be a tech conference. You may go to a conference where they're talking about uh how to get into manufacturing. Go attend. You may not never use it, but you at least have knowledge of it, and you might use it. You don't know. You don't know who you might meet. You don't know, right? Just do something different once a year. I'm just gonna hold it down to once a year. Just once a year. Yeah, stop following the masses. When I'm trying to tell you, the masses is in the median. Again, going back to that bell curve, high performers, high earners, above average. We on this side. I know. I'm talking to the far right. I know. I know. I can't worry about what the median and to the left is doing. I can only worry about what they're doing over here. That's what I'm worried about. Where is this going? Stay over there. Right? And those that want to come over, come over. Have some have some tea and crumpets. Have some tea and crumpets. But yeah, last night, this is what I went through last night. Go back and catch the replay. Because you can then see the numbers, the figures on how much more money people with advanced degrees and degrees make in a lifetime. It was like 1.5 million for men, and I think something like $860,000 for women, something like that in their lifetime, right? In their lifetime, not just on a yearly basis, but in their lifetime, right? All right, InvestFest. So I took a look at the lineup to see who was speaking, um, who would I want to hear from, and so forth, right? So we got Kathy Wood, you got Jeezy. I wouldn't mind hearing what Jermaine Dupri had to say, just to see what he's doing outside of music. What does because he grew up in the music industry. He's had a good life. He's had a good life. He been around music forever, so he's never had to worry about that. I would love to see what Terrence J is talking about. Um, I don't know about B Simone and Megan Ashley. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Pretty V. That could be interesting. Donahue. Pebbles or Peebles. I wonder if this is he looks like his dad. I'm assuming this is his dad. I'm assuming that's what you call it is his dad. Don. Um, that would be interesting. I don't want to hear from Ash Cash because she's always yelling. I have a feeling I know what Al Harrington is going to talk about in terms of weed and so forth and so on. So, um, not. I think she's been on their show a couple of times. I think she's in real estate. It'd be interesting take. Cheryl Daniel. Her conversation will be interesting. He had built his own platform. Probably an interesting conversation. I I I don't know if David Shands would introduce anything new outside of his show that he does. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure who these two are. Brandon Rule, it would be someone I would listen to on the commercial real estate side. And I'll bring another link up in a minute here. I'm not sure about these three. I'm not sure what they do. I could click on them and find out, but I'm not sure what they do. Um, in terms of Byron Sellers, I know about him. I'm not sure about these three here. I'm not sure about Caroline Hyde. Sounds familiar, but I will have to look her up. I'm just going off of what I see. I'm not doing a deep dive. Ruben Harris, I've seen his work before. Don't know about the other two, other three here. AJ Johnson sounds familiar to me. Jamal Bowman, I think you all heard about Jamal Bowman. Yeah. Let me see. I think she has, if I'm not mistaken, I think there's a YouTube channel. If I'm not mistaken. Don't get me wrong on that one. Yeah, I've seen her speak before. Seen him speak before. Terica Lynn Smith, sound familiar? Not sure. Mm, well, I don't know. Phaedra Ellis. I'm not the Phaedra from the Housewives. She don't look like her. If not, this picture throws me off. But yeah, um, wouldn't know. We'll have to look them up. I've seen his podcast. Don't know them. Mm, yeah, starts to get fuzzy for me. And I'm sure they got great talks, but I just don't know them just off the rip. I'm not sure what other than branding, maybe for Lala, maybe some investment she's done with other people, but you know, I know Lala from being on the radio station in Atlanta when she was annoying as hell being on the radio station in Atlanta, but that's beside the point. She's rebranded herself, she's changed, right? So I could see her talking about branding. Of course, Maverick, we all know about Maverick. Um, the rest of those, don't know. Vernon Davis, basketball player, entrepreneur now. And let me know if y'all know some people that I don't know that I should know on here, just off the rip. We know who David Banner is. We know he's more of an activist now. Investor. He's invested in Atlanta. Don't know. No, don't know. Got to shine the head. Shine that up though. We know about Tabitha. Baron Davis. We know about Kathy Wood and Baron Davis. That's kind of obvious. And Cam, yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know what you would get out of Cam. I don't know. Oh yeah, she got a hairline. I know. Like I say, Brandy, Jim Jones. I, I don't know. I think he got his. I think he got a line of weed. Kenny Burns, we know, music industry. I think he has a YouTube channel, podcast, I should say. YouTube podcast. They all kind of fall the same for me. And we know about Alonzo Ball. I've seen her, Angela Stanton. I think y'all have seen her throughout social media. And no. So why didn't I not go to Invest Fest? Because I got somewhere else to go next week, and I just got back from Atlanta. That's really all that boils down to. So now let's look at the tickets and the cost of the tickets to Invest Fest. Right? So let's buy tickets. General admission, I'm assuming this is last minute, $300. If you want the VIP experience, it's $1,800. If you want the platinum VIP admission, $5,000. If you want lifetime membership, VIP membership is $13,000. If you're in Invest Fest nightlife with the wristband, $139. Invest Fest live recording and stream, $100. I may buy that for $100. right? Right? I may buy that for $100, right? So that's where we're at with InvestFest. That's who's there. If you go back to the website and look down here for InvestFest, is investing, crypto, real estate planning. The only thing I probably would be doing is real estate and estate planning, maybe content creation, insurance, stocks, and taxes. Probably taxes. The stocks they'll probably be talking about options. Yeah, probably we talking about options, shorting, so forth and so on. So that's where they're at. So if you want to get on the $99 train, you can get on the $99 train. I think somebody had bought it and put the link up somewhere. Um, and I was supposed to stream it and look at it, and I haven't. Somebody bought it and put it up. Um, says again, what are you getting out of this? Are they giving blueprints to, or motivational speaking? I'll pay for the blueprints, but if they're just talking, I'll pass. That's my point. Um, I don't know if there is the blueprints, so that's why I was like, okay, are there going to be like here? Like, this is what I see for $5,000. You get a musical performance, you get the fireside chat, an open bar, food, and they got food trucks, and then special merch. You get front row seatings, section 1 and 2. You get access to the live stream, autograph memorabilia, meet and greet, earn your leisure. And so go back to what I said last week. I'm not gonna knock them. I'm not trying to knock them. I'm just stating what I said before last week. When we get together, it's some food, it's some chicken, it's some performance, it's some networking. It is all the entertainment things that we always get. And preferably I'm kind of tired of that. So I try not to attend those things if I don't see where I'm sure I could benefit from it, right? I'm sure I could find someone in there to network with. But then it's now, if we're at the Georgia World Congress Center, we probably talking about 30 to 50,000 people, right? When you gonna have time to network with the person afterwards? What are y'all gonna do? How people making moves? What's the blueprint? What's the plan? Can you engage? Do y'all have a little private room? Eric, I'm sure you can go on InvestFest on Instagram and see things, which you can't do here live. Let me look. Um, that's Chrome. Let's look and see. Oh, in InvestFest. And let's go to hashtag InvestFest. And so far, I got 13,000 posts for InvestFest. Um, I don't know if this is supposed to be a part of the InvestFest. Like, see, yeah, whatever. There's the setups and so forth and so on. These are top posts, but again, it depends on what you're looking for, right? It depends on what your goal is, what your aim is. I follow. We'll see. I'll check back periodically on InvestFest. Oh, Bob Barker died. I thought the Bob Barker died years ago. I thought Bob Barker died years ago. Hmm. Let's see. like pay $300 to $1,800 for what exactly that line looks like, something from Rolling Loud. Hopefully there are breakout sessions to dive into meaningful content. Hopefully there is. Yeah, and you know what? This is a question. I don't D know how to do a poll. I think you got to do a poll on YouTube though, D. I'm just gonna ask the question of this. Do you think yeah, do you think women in Linux is not giving sound advice? Like I love the feedback. Let me know. You think we don't give blueprints and sound advice? Let us know. I would love that feedback. I would love to know um what your thoughts are on the content, the type of content that we share. I try to make it interesting. I try to look for things that I don't think everybody is talking about. I don't like to, so I spend a lot of time going through things and looking to see what people are talking about. Yeah. No, no, no. I'm not saying she read it wrong. I just want to know if we are getting sound giving sound advice. I want to make sure you all have the tools you need to make the right choices and stuff, right? Um Especially when it comes down to negotiating. That's another thing we talked about last night too. Where are black women and black men lacking? I went to chat. I used Chat GPT last night, and I pulled those things up. So yeah, go back and actually text the show. Catch the show last night. Thanks, Sharon J. All right, so invest best. I'll catch the live stream. I'll catch the live stream. Oh, when I say you're talking about us, I just wanted to know in general from everybody. You good, Jerome? All right. Wells Fargo overcharged clients $27 million in fees, the SEC alleges. Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo. This came out August the 25th. Today is the 26th, so this is yesterday. Wells Fargo has agreed to pay a $35 million penalty to settle allegations that it overcharged more than 10,900 investment advisory accounts, the SEC said, right? The overcharges at two Wells Fargo units amounted to over $26.8 million in advisory fees, the SEC said in a statement on Friday. Certain financial advisors agreed to reduce the firm's standard preset advisory fees for certain clients and made handwritten or typed changes on the client's investment advisory agreements that reflected the reduced fees at the time their accounts were open. The bank didn't admit to or deny regulators' allegations. We're pleased to resolve this matter. The process that caused this issue was corrected early a decade ago, and as noted in the settlement document, Wells Fargo advisors conducted a thorough review of accounts and has fully reimbursed affected customers. I just want to trust Wells Fargo will be in my advisory for my money. Nah, I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Right. And this goes back from 2002 to 2014. 2002 to 2014. Right. Yeah, man. Yeah, I show them trying to how to make 400K. Jerome, they don't know. They don't come to the after hours. They don't come to the women in Linux after hours. It'd be a few in there. It only be a few in there because it'd be a few or whatnot. I just like, okay, well here we go. Let me let me show you how you can make 400,000. Let me show you how you can make 600,000. Let me show how you can make, and I'm not talking like $400,000 in your lifetime. I'm talking about how you can make $400,000 a year, how you can make $200,000 a year consistently, 250, 275, 300, 350. How you can make $1 million, how you can make $2 million. Like I I've shown that, right? and I show you exactly how to do it, right? So much so, I was like, man, this needs to be a mastermind. This needs to be a mastermind to actually show y'all how to do that, right? I believe in creating. You may not make a million with me. I may not show you how to make $1 million in a year, right? I may not show you how to make $1 million in a year, but I most definitely can show you how to make $1 million in 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 5 to 10 years. I can show you that, right? The after hours I posted in Slack. I posted in our Slack group, and then I posted on YouTube in the community channel. I do that. I go to the community channel and I post it, and I'll post a link, and I just like we're gonna talk whatever it is what we want to talk about. I usually try to keep it to like financial stuff, moving and grooving, this, that, and other. I try to keep it to where we could actually like literally break down like, okay, step one, step two, step three. You need to be doing this, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing this, right? And it's funny we're having this conversation this morning because I was having a conversation with my mom, and I was having some conversation with some other people, and like how that my very not my internship, but my very first real job in tech, where I got paid 49,000 and jump from 49,000 to 115,000 in a year and a half, and then from there I was like, okay, I need to get to 200. Like, what's my goal? Every time I move, I set a goal. Like, what's my goal? Right, right. What's my goal? Like, so I always wanted to make sure when I first started, like, make sure I got over 100. Okay, now that I got to 100, how much more can I make? Like, what am I doing wrong? And I'm not in these arenas. Okay, let me readjust. Let me see what people are doing. Let me add this skill. Let me add that. So I learned really, really quickly on how people are doing. And back then, when we had the whole war thing, most people made their money by going overseas. Those people were making millions. They again, were making millions. So a lot of times, and this is the hidden gem about tech. And I'm gonna probably talk about it on the second show. Maybe I talk it in after hours. Maybe I should talk about it in after hours. Maybe I do that. Most of the time, like going out, what people don't realize is like you hear all this screaming about what's going on with BRICS, what's going on with China, this, that, and other. I was having a conversation yesterday, and this is just a think about it conversation. Think about it, right? When you look across the entire world, how many military bases do we have across the entire world? Right now, ask this question: how many military bases on the United States soil that are foreign? Right? So put that in perspective. Right now, let's go back and revert. How much tech do you think exists on these different military bases, and how much tech do you think is needed to maintain the security of those military bases? Just throwing it out there. Now, take it even one step further. How many contracts do you think exist in order to maintain those military bases? What do you think Tesla get their money from for SpaceX? What do you think their money comes from? What do you really think money comes from for a lot of Facebook, Meta, Microsoft, whatever? Where do you think that money comes from? You think they don't dabble? What do you think Palantir get their money from? Where do you think Nvidia get their money from? What do you think? What's the one job? What's the one place that's always open? The government. They're always spending. So for late night shows, I actually talk about these things because I talk about them offline. You want to talk about how you make money? You want to talk about how you get millions? You want to talk about how you do stuff? Hmm. Yeah. You go work for Meta. Where you think Meta getting money from? Who you think Meta work for on the back end? I don't have to lie to you. Go look this up, right? Who you think Amazon getting money from? Who you think Oracle get money from? They all eat. Everybody, listen. As much as people like to talk about Section 8 and government assistance, you can look at Facebook getting government assistance in Section 8. Wait, where do you think they get money from? Right? Where do you think they? Where do you think they been? Who do you think BlackRock? How do you think BlackRock move? All these other places, all these equity funds, this, that, and other. Come on now. Let me get off before they shut the stream down. Let me get off before they shut the stream down. Have you looked at the defense budget ever? You go look this up. This is public information. All right. FYI 2023 defense budget. Did you see that right there? The fiscal year into law allotting 816 billion dollars to the defense budget. It's right there. Load it up a little bit for you so you can see it for yourself. Right there. Right. Well, what's the defense budget for next year? $831 billion in total funding. Right. Right. Will the military get a pay raise? Right. They're going to get a 5.2% pay raise. It means the military going to get a pay raise. This means the soldiers get a pay raise. Yeah, military will pay increase 4.2% for 2023. Right. And you can go look at the pay charts and so forth. The COLA, 8.7%. And even Social Security got a pay raise. People that was collecting Social Security, they got a pay raise. Right. So you can go look all this stuff up, right? Where the money is being spent, right? But this is even better breakdown right here. So we got 2022, 2021. 2022 we had 344 billion. In 2020 we had 448 billion. Let's say between 300 to 500 billion. Right? And then here we go. The Air Force budget for budget and contracting, the U.S. Naval Marine Corps, the Army, NASA, NOAA. Uh, the list goes on. How much research? How much money goes into research? Right? Research budgets at different companies. Like the list goes on. Right? Right here. Right here. Right there. 773 million for nuclear modernization as well as research and development. It's always going to be money in research. It's always going to be money in research. So when I tell you about what your skills need to lie, you need to be looking at where the industry is going, how much money is going into these different industries, who's funding them, and boom, you got your skills. It's real simple. So if I would have went to Invest I don't know if I would have got that, right? I don't know if I would have got that, right? I would have got some information about like what people are doing. I would love to get in on the content creation side and so forth, but that's what it is. The men on the internet are always harping on black women getting money from the government. Yep, that's why I said it. Like, but Elon Musk get money from him all the time. Elon Musk get money from him all the time, right? So, I'll do it after hours. I'll do it after hours. All right, we talked about that. So let's continue. All right, so I want to bring this up. Is a court ruling is forcing small businesses to detail bias to keep their contracting status. Now, those on the government contracting side, Eric Coffey has covered this as well too. What's going on, Ms. Waits? Um, what I wanted to say is we're probably going to have. There's a government contracting conference coming up. I'll be speaking at it. I got to call Eric back. GovCon Giants conference. Um, so he has a conference coming up. Um, Let me see if he got it on his LinkedIn. How to do business with NASA. Let me see if he got it on here. He may have it on here. I know I have it in my thing. Yeah, right here. This contracting connections summit right here. All right. So I'll be speaking at this conference as well too. Exciting times ahead. Don't miss out on GovCon Giants Contracting Connection Summit. It's an opportunity for you for growth, learning. You won't pass up. And when you're not at the summit, there's something amazing awaiting for you ahead. Captivating Lock and Load Museum. Connect with experts, expand your knowledge, and build your network. This is something I will attend because I want to know where are where the money is flowing, who need people. October 11th through the 12th for 2023. There are going to be workshops. I have spoken to Eric about this. There will be workshops. There will be step by step plays. There will be uh, really what we were talking about was like what's the message that you want to send, what message do I want to send by speaking at the conference. I gotta go back through my email and so forth. So again, government contracting, if you want to go take a look at it, for the 11th through the 12th. This will be in Miami, at a Hilton hotel. So you can check that out and so forth, right? Wednesday, October the 11th. I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about. Hadn't decided yet. I've been asked to speak. I've been asked to talk about some stuff. So I have my own things that I do want to talk about from a government contracting perspective. But this is dude, where's my book? Where's my book? Anyway, GovCon lunch. In the book he actually talks about, and I've covered this before. One of the things he actually talked about was you as an individual being having skills and being a consultant to a company can utilize that network and your abilities to secure contracts, right? Well, what does that look like? Well, you could be a consultant and work on a particular project as you, but under your own company. So you could use that as past work history for your contract. So what does that look like? Well, that could look like $100 an hour, 120 an hour, 150 an hour, 175, 200, maybe even 500. Maybe you go in as a group of people that secure contracts. I was having a conversation yesterday with someone, and they were talking about how can they pay me to train their people on DevSecOps, and train, and how much would it take for me to train and train other people to be the trainer. So I've been analyzing folks in Women in Linux, and y'all just ain't known it, to become trainers, because I have to remove myself from training every day. So we were having a discussion yesterday on what that would look like, to train the trainers, to move people into uh, the whole DevSecOps, site reliability engineering, even understanding cloud infrastructure on prem, understanding how to build data centers, understanding how to build, I'll say, private units. We'll say it that way. So I have been creating these things in the background. Um, and working on this so that we can have our own pipeline for people to make 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000. Right? There's always been my goal. It's like, okay, look, so you think you got skills, right? All right, then solve this problem. Here's how you do it. That's why in Wednesday class, if y'all missed Wednesday's class, I talked about design thinking. And those that you have homework, I hope you have it completed. I'm gonna drop a link in Slack for you to upload your design, um for you to open up to drop your design doc, and we're gonna review it. And the reason why I wanted to do that is because I wanted you to understand how to think big picture. How do I create a design doc, and then take that design doc and move from design doc to a diagram, moving from a diagram to tangible task inside of Jira or whatever your tool that you want to use, and then move that from actually doing the coding, the implementation of everything, and then testing that, and moving from testing into actual production, or maybe staging, and then moving that into from staging and testing, and then moving it into production. And all the time in all this loop, you're securing, and all this time in this loop, you're getting feedback, and you're failing fast, and you're failing forward in all this loop. So by the time you get to a job, you have already gone through these steps. You already understand that, hey, I had to work with this team to get this information, or I had to do this to do that. I had a scrum master, we had a product owner, we had a security engineer, we had a site reliability engineer, we had an infrastructure person, we had a database person, we had an accountant, we had someone that was doing business development, we had someone that was talking to the customer, we had someone that was actually leading the customer, we had a product. Like, all those things matter, and they all fall under government contracting. They all follow under anything in tech, and they're all positions, right? So you can pick and choose how you want to. Jerome said, "Well, I think about W." I hear a lot of people going to WGU. I just haven't really dove off into their degree and so forth. Like, what are they actually teaching? I hear good things about them, but I haven't dove off into them and looked at them. I just haven't. All right, so that's his stuff. Court ruling, keep that up. Need to know about that. All right, foreign intelligence warning to space industry highlights. What does this mean? All right, the recent warning from ODNI, go look up ODNI, drop what that is in the chat, serves as a reminder that as space startup scene continues to develop, foreign intelligence entities might attempt to steal their technology and assets and intellectual property. So again, we're talking about space. Again, going back to SpaceX, going back to these briefings. Again, we're starting to talk about satellites, security, how to secure the space, how to work at a startup and secure this. These are different entities, these are different things that are making money. These are people that are hiring. They're hiring people for these tech skills, right? They're hiring people for these tech skills. So we could go space startups, just in general. And here is a brief, right? Um, 10 places, 10 surging space startups, right? This is of May 1st of 2023. So let me go down here and blow this up for you. Firefly Aerospace, Relativity Space, been around since 2015. Astranis, Gravitix, Think Orbital, I know about Think Orbital. Leo Labs, I know about them. Slingshot Aerospace, Rogue Space Systems Corporation, Starfish Space, uh, Vestigos Aerospace. Now, why I mention these, I'm gonna give you this game. These are the type of places they may have some, in some cases, not in all, but these are the type of places that may have 20 to 50 people working at them, right? You know what happens with these places like this? They get sopped up like a biscuit by larger entities for 500 million, 200 million, 30 million, 50 million. But guess what? The employees have employee owned stock in those companies. So you may be an employee owned stock. The employees may own stock in that company. When they get bought out, they may have 100 shares, 50 shares, or whatnot. This is how millionaires get created. This is how millionaires get created. All right. So when I talk about this, you're like, what are you talking about? Well, um, let's do this. All right. So in 2013, and then I'm go down the rabbit hole. And people who know me know about this already. All right. So CACI bought this company called 63 Systems. Right. So CACI bought this company called 63 Systems. They had approximately 1,600 people working at their company. But those that got in on the early bird of being in that company, they got purchased for $470 million. So imagine you employee number 10. Imagine you employee number 5. Maybe you employee number 20, right? Into a company. And the company gets purchased for 470 million. Those people became millionaires because they were early birds into the company. But sometimes some companies don't want to grow past 50 people. And there's a reason why they don't want to grow past 50 people for tax purposes and so forth, and even insurance purposes. So that's besides the point. But some people like to keep them small. So 63 Systems then turned around and bought this company called LTC. Um, so they end up buying this company called LTC, right? 63 Systems did, and they purchased them for 16 million, right? So those people that was there were employee owned, had an employee owned stock. And so they were 20, 30 people, maybe 50. It might have been 50 if it was 50. And those people had employee owned stock, got purchased because why? They had a unique set of skills that did something unique in tech, and a company acquired them. right? So your ability to have a set of skills that are desired by companies is on you. But you need to find out what those companies are looking for where you can thrive. So right now, what you see is a lot of blockchain, you see a lot of AI, you see a lot of quant, you see a lot of DevSecOps, you see a lot of things dealing with data, especially on data and engineering, data security, data analysis, um, along those lines, super huge, right? So you got to figure out where you're gonna fit in at and what's gonna make you money. You need to have a 5 year to 10 year plan. 5 years, I say every year or every 2 years, you need to add a certificate or some type of skill set, right? That you know really, really well, that you can monetize. You should be able to monetize on every skill set that you have, right? You should be able to monetize on that. The next thing up, you need to be able to take the monetization of those skill sets, and those skill sets over time from 5 to 10 years should at least earn you a million to 2 million, if not more. Now, how do you do that? Well, you're gonna have to find jobs and you're gonna have to network. Really, your skill sets bring people to you, really, if you really want to talk about it. Or you can start making 200,000, 250, 300,000. So imagine you make 300,000 for the next 10 years, right? 300,000 for the next 10 years. Live off of half of that. Live off of half of that. Put it away, invest it, buy some land, buy some property, because you're going to need something to be a tax shelter. You're going to have to create and start either donating to a charity, and we'll get into that in the after hours. You charitable remainder trust, we'll talk about that. But you're going to have to find a way to alleviate yourself tax wise. If not, you're going to be spending. And then here's the other caveat: what state do you live in order to help you with your tax burdens? It's most definitely ain't New York, and it most definitely ain't California. So you want to live in states where the state income tax you don't have to pay, but then you need to understand property values. Do you need to understand how much money you spending in property taxes? You need to also understand how much you're spending in insurance, and you also need to understand what are the laws of the state, right? What are the laws of the state? Like somebody living in your property, what things you need to structure and so forth and so on. These are just things that I talk about in the after hours, but I've talked about them here too. How to structure yourself. What does that look like? How do you become, how do you, all your skill sets become intangible assets that make you money later and also continue to make you money well into your retirement. And some people that come out of retirement because their skill set is still needed. And so if you got to come out of retirement, you may go in. Some people have come out of retirement to make 250,000 a year because they knew COBOL or because they knew some mainframe stuff or because something's still running on something and they need somebody, right? Every year, add yeah, you need to add a skill set or a cert. You can add a cert, but if you get the cert and then don't do nothing with it, what difference do it make, right? You get the cert, but you don't do nothing with it. What difference do it make? Because you lose the skill set. So I prefer the skills over the cert. The cert is icing on the cake, but the skills is the one that makes the money, right? The cert says, hey, yeah, I passed the test, but you can get into a job and not know how to do anything, right? So I prefer people to have the working skill set and then working knowledge and go from there. Right. So, all right, we talked about Invest Fest. We talked about the court rulings. We talked about that. All right. So I don't know if y'all been following this right here. LPL to gain Prudential's $50 billion wealth management business. Do you know who LPL is? Have you ever heard of LPL? And why is Prudential giving them $50 billion wealth management business to them? Why? Right? Follow the money. Why is Prudential making this move? What's going on? Right? So let's get into it. LPL Holdings and Prudential Financial announced Thursday morning that Prudential will move the retail brokerage and investment advisory assets of 2,600 financial advisors from Prudential current custodian to Fidelity's National Financial Services to LPL Financial, right? LPL is not buying Prudential's retail wealth management business, but instead will act as a service provider for financial advisors who work with roughly 50 billion in client assets. Prudential currently uses National Financial Services as its brokerage and RIA platform. It's not the biggest win for LPL as the third party custodian and service provider, but it certainly stands out. The biggest win is the in custody and clearing for LPL likely came in 2006 when it landed broker AXA Advisors and now which is now Equitable Advisors. LPL has steadily begun gaining stream to serving as a back office platform, and his here follow the money, because what do you think has to happen for them if they're gaining $15 billion in assets and 2,600 advisors? Some training has to go on. There's going to have to be some knowledge transfer. There's going to have to be some type of hiring ramp up for some skill sets for people to help bring them onto the platform. What platform or what's their back end that they're using? These are the things. So I would be looking at what LPL has for jobs. That's what I would be looking at, right? So again, LPL has steadily been gaining stream in serving as a back office platform for banks, credit unions, and insurance companies like Prudential that want to lower expense of running retail wealth management enterprise, but still want to have financial advisors under its roof. The retail wealth management business can be extremely profitable. Prudential's 2,600 financial advisors will use LPL's broker dealer and registered investment advisory. The transition is expected to be completed in the latter part of 2024. Prudential has had a difficult time with wealth management, as insurance companies have in the past couple of decades, so forth and so on, right? So LPL. So let's go look at LPL Financial. And that go right there. Let me go back. Careers at LPL. Let's just do a search. I'm just gonna hit search to see what come back. 426 results. They got 59 jobs in information technology. They have 19 jobs in compliance. They got 6 in human resources, and they have 231 in finance. So let's blow this up. So they got a sales practice compliance officer, growth strategy, data analyst, a technology vendor, operations analyst, a data analyst, a VP of software development, a VP double, I guess two, software engineering advisor management and business service, risk analysis. Let's go to the next one. Middleware platform, senior data engineer, AVP, Linux delivery team manager. I don't know what a Linux delivery team manager is, right? Linux delivery team manager. Let's look at it. I have no idea. All right. What is a Linux delivery team manager? Let me back out a little bit so I can see. So they got 401k, personal development, agile collaboration, health and wellness, flexibility, maternity leave. Job description. All right. So, seeking a Linux engineering manager for delivery engineering organization. This engineer will possess technical expertise, engineering skill, as well as management abilities, which will allow him or her to step into a manager or leading subject matter expert (SME) for role for both investor and advisor themed technology as well as cloud-based solutions. You're managing 5 to 10 people. You're going to facilitate delivery of current and future LPL products. You're going to be a SME, collaborate with automation and infrastructure as code, collaborate with product owners and an agile well team, support the infrastructure, recommend change it. This is something you could do, right? Contribute to policies, procedures, and standards. They want 5 years of experience in managing Linux environments, management experience, understanding YAML, configuration management, Terraform, and Ansible. I don't know how many times I say this. Network security and so forth. They're paying between 113 to 170 for this position. You probably could negotiate for a little more depending on the person. I would negotiate higher. I would negotiate for 200 at a minimum for this position, but you could go in with guns ablazing. Right? So let's go back. I don't know, Natasha. They got to come up with some more money. All right. They got a Kafka engineer. They got a SharePoint developer, a senior data engineer, a cloud data lead. These are both out of South Carolina. So they got a ton of little jobs that you all could go apply for. IT change management. They had a Scrum Master up there on the last one, a senior systems engineer. So again, I would go because I know they got money moving into it. I know they got to come. They got things to take over. They're acquiring assets and managing and helping manage people. So yeah, I will go check this job out. Right, I'll go check this job out. LPL Prudential may need a tech professional who knows how to build integrations between a company and software and apps. Correct. And they're gonna have to train some people too, right? So there's gonna be some trainers on here as well too. So follow the money. That is part of how you follow the money. You see they're acquiring something. You know that those people got to get onboarded. There got to be a ramp up of somebody helping them, onboard those people. They're going to be applications and things that they're used to using that they may not have that they're going to have to create. So they're going to be some UI people. They're going to be some developers. They're going to be somebody to understand the data, how to interact with the database, how to integrate, how to even just onboard someone to the systems that they have. So you have to look at it from that way, right? All right, here we go. Layoffs. Charles Schwab is downsizing, expecting layoffs here. Let me get this video out. This is Nissan. Let me refresh it. Oh, great. I refreshed. Okay, here we go. Let me stop that and put it over to Safari. I wonder when Charles Schwab was going to downsize. I didn't think they was going. They were going to be able to sustain. All right, so here we go.
Program to Chef Wonderful here, which is a program created towards small businesses like mine for retaining their employees during the pandemic. Well done, and most of this money is still available. If there's one thing Wonderfuls never do, it's leave money on the table. Chihuahua, this guy is smart. Go to wondertrust.com now to see if you're eligible for this cash. Nice hat.
Layoffs coming to Charles Schwab, the company headquartered in Westlake. It's downsizing. The financial services company designated its Westlake campus as its headquarters in 2020, following the purchase of TD Ameritrade. Schwab has not said how many people might lose their jobs, but the company expects to save $500 million a year with this move. And Nissan is recalling more than
200 million. That's what they're expecting. That's a lot to save. Right. All right, Jerome. Catch you later. All right. Rite Aid. Rite Aid. Rite Aid is preparing to file for bankruptcy. Rite Aid is filing for bankruptcy. Right? Let's close that. Rite Aid stock fell more than 50% Friday after Wall Street reported the retail pharmacy will be preparing for Chapter 11. It faces mounting costs related to opioid lawsuits. A source familiar with the matter confirmed to Yahoo Finance that the bankruptcy planning is underway, with part of the plan of likely shutting down 400 stores. 400 stores, right? When asked about the bankruptcy preparations Friday, right, they said, we do not comment on rumors and speculations. Over the past year, the company's stock has lost 90% of its value. The company's market cap as of Friday stood around 41 million. Yahoo Finance data showed. In a statement to Yahoo Finance, Rite Aid said, we have closed already 239 stores in 2021. Like all retail businesses, we regularly review each of our locations to ensure we're meeting the needs of our customers, communities, and overall business. In 2022, the company closed a planned 145 stores, with more expected this year. In the last quarter, ended in June the 3rd, Rite Aid closed 27 stores. So Rite Aid is closing down. What does that mean for the communities that they're in? What does that mean for the communities that they're in? Right? All right. So let me go back over here to my link. What time I got? Oh, hold on. Let me look over here. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let me go back to my link. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about this. All right. Let's talk about Shaq. Let's talk about Shaq. Um, let's have a discussion about Shaq. Shaheed, we hear what's up. All right. Shaq has 20 car washes in Houston. I've always wanted to own a car wash. One of my things. Shrugging off his $286,000, 286 million. I don't know what this comma after this one is. I guess billion. I don't know. I don't know what it's supposed to be. I don't know. They got another comma, I'm assuming. Shaq proudly listed business ventures outside of the U.S. and in the NBA in 2011 book, right? So let's go here. Okay, it's 286 million. I didn't know what the comma after that was supposed to be, zeros or not. All right, so let's look at what he is all investing in. Okay, here we go, right here. Back down a little bit. He owns and commands 17 establishments of Auntie Anne's, a venture that demanded an initial investment of 300,000. Five Guys marked his maiden series investment, a venture he seized ownership and eventually divested from. 150,000, 155 dining establishment, 9 outlets of Papa John's, a realm where he not only sold his likeness and voice for a substantial 8.5 million, but occupies a coveted seat on the board of directors, yielding a remuneration of 8 million in stocks and a salary during his 3-year tenure. The empire further encompasses 40 meticulous designed 24-hour fitness, embodying Shaq's keen presence in the fitness sector. Additionally, Shaq boasts 150 car wash establishments. He also has, from beauty and fashion, his holding spans Lyft, J.C. Penney's, which we know he probably got out of that, Gold Bond, Icy Hot, the General Insurance, and Forever 21. Notably, Shaq's entrepreneurial spirit extends to the realm of franchising, exemplified through the inception of the Big Chicken restaurant, a venture that successfully taken roots across 10 local distinct locales. Shaq's playbook for financial wizardry. Shaq mentioned that he went through a lot of trials and tribulations and a lot of failures before he turned himself into a successful entrepreneur. He gives financial literacy on how billionaires manage their money and how younger generation can do the same, and so forth. And that's that's cool. I want you to have that information about Shaq, right? Let me see. Let's look at this because I think this is very, very interesting. I'm trying to find it. Hold on. I'm in my notes. I just had it. Retirement, Wall Street. Oh, yeah, right here. This is what I want. This is what I want right here. Visualizing 156 trillion in US assets by generation. Assets by generation. So right here, the baby boomers have 78.1 trillion in assets. Generation X has 46 trillion in assets. And we get down here to the silent generation. They have 18.6 trillion in assets. And millennials have 13.3 trillion in assets. Right? What how are these assets broken down? Well, the baby boomers have 18.3 trillion in real estate. They also have 19.2 trillion in mutual funds. And they also have 7.9 trillion in private business. Gen X has 13.6 trillion in real estate, 9.5 trillion in pensions, 6.2 trillion for baby boomers. They have 8.8 trillion in equities and mutual fund and 6 trillion in private business. But the interesting part about all of this is that the silent generation still has trillions. That's the one that was interesting to me. They still have trillions. In fact, they got more than the millennials. And they the oldest bunch. Right? They still got 2 trillion in pensions. Private business, 800 billion. They got 5.3 trillion in mutual funds, 4.1 trillion in other assets, and 4.8 trillion in real estate. That's very interesting to me because that means they're still transferring wealth to this group here, the baby boomers. And these baby boomers are transferring wealth to here, and these and then and here. Baby boomers are transferring wealth here and here. They're transferring wealth to millennials and Gen X because some people got members in both. This is very interesting to me because this is the gift that keeps on giving. This over here is still giving over here. And they got 18.6 trillion to give to be allotted amongst this, to be allotted amongst here and here, right? Quite interesting, if you ask me. So what happens when this generation is gone? Will this generation get it or will this generation get it? Will the money transfer from here to here? The silent generation. Those people are from 77 to 95. 77 to 95. So they could be some of your granddaddies and grandmamas. 77 to 95. Their own land. They may have money. Now this generation may have money under the mattress. This generation may have money under the mattress. You literally have to rip me out the plastic. I've been acting brand new. They really got money under the mattress in the back. Do you remember the episode where I talked about the guy who was burying gold in the backyard? They were finding bars of gold in the backyard. They had dug up the backyard and they were finding bars of gold in the backyard. And do you remember the lady that was murking folks and burying them in the backyard and putting gold bars on top of them? Yeah. 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 Right here. Right here. Yeah. Yeah. Right here. Look, couple finds rare gold coins in the backyard. Northern California couple found $10 million worth of rare coin dating back to the 1800s. This was from 3 days ago. This from 3 days ago. This from 3 days ago. Let's take a look. This is what we're talking about. This is why you got to buy the land. That's why you got to buy the land. The land in them old places and stuff like that. You don't know what be in them backyards. Just old houses, people sitting back there. Wait for this to go off. Old houses, historic areas in the backyard, people got gold sitting in the back. Because that's what they did. They didn't take their money to they bought gold. Yeah. Whenever this ad goes away. Oh, why you can't hear? D say y'all can't hear. All right, here we go. Hopefully, I ain't gotta go through another video. I mean, another commercial. I do. We'll let that pass, and then I'll start it.
Get relief without a pill with Tylenol Dissolve Packs. Relief without the water.
This morning, you might find some of your neighbors grabbing shovels. A Northern California couple found a real-life treasure buried in their backyard. Ben Tracy shows us how it will make them accidental millionaires.
This is what $10 million worth of gold coins look like. These rare coins date back to the mid to late 1800s. A Northern California couple says they were hiking on their property last February when they saw an old tin can poking out of the ground.
It was a weird little secluded place that no one would have really had easy access to.
They dug up a total of 8 cans filled with more than 1,400 mint condition solid gold coins.
Well, this doesn't happen every day.
Don Kagan is the coin dealer the couple contacted. They have chosen to remain anonymous and keep the exact location of their property secret now that the coins are ready for sale.
Well, it's a great story because it was a relatively young couple, early 40s, out with their dog, and they've been on this path, and trail that they've been on their property for many, many years, and they discover this pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, perhaps.
Kagan says whoever buried the coins did it over a number of years because they're dated from 1847 to 1894, the time of the fabled California gold rush. Because they were buried and out of circulation, they're in pristine condition. They're going up for sale, and the rarest coin in the collection could fetch $1 million on its own.
It was a pretty incredible experience being able to sit across the table from these people and say, you know, not only is it dollar signs in the ground, you found things that are historically important because of the condition that you found them in.
Kagan says the pair plans
I
to
wouldn't
use the
sell
multi-million-dollar windfall to pay off bills and quietly donate the rest to local charities.
You're crazy.
For CBS This Morning, Ben Tracy,
But
Los
they was on
Angeles.
their property on the trail. So
I love stories like this. You can see everybody in Northern California saying, everybody in the yard. Come on, kids.
There's a famous story about.
Listen, let me tell you this now. I ain't selling nothing. Y'all gonna be like, what Tameika? I might sell one. The rest, I'm getting me a bomb. I'm getting me a bomb shelter. I'm gonna be in Wyoming with my coins. Got my wheels set up. Got everything set up. The collection total was $10 million. The collection in total was worth $10 million. The collection in total was worth $10 million. So that's why I said I'm very intrigued about the silent generation, you know, what they got, you know, out here. All right. I thought this was also interesting. I don't know if y'all saw this. Come on, get rid of the advertisement. Here we go. All right. Wall Street is going south, taking 1 trillion assets with it. 1 trillion is coming south. Palm Beach, Florida. Although New York still reigns supreme in asset management, Florida and Texas have added some things. So Wall Street financial services firms are moving out of the Big Apple and relocating to the Sun Belt, a region of the United States generally considered across the Southeast and Southwest, and taking nearly 1 trillion assets under management with them. The flight out of New York has been underway since the pandemic. Wall Street executives previously relocated thousands of jobs to states outside of New York. 158 financial institutions managing $993 billion in assets have established and aggressively staffed hubs in Florida, North Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, and other less expensive locations, according to data from 17,000 corporate filings by Bloomberg. The mass exodus, following the leads of other financial services such as Credit Suisse, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Barclays, UBS, Citigroup, Bernstein, and more relocating to lower areas. Wells Fargo is pouring investment into a 2-tower, 850,000 square foot campus in Irving, Texas. It's expected to house thousands of employees upon its completion in 2025. It says the absence of the state income tax plus warm weather and business-friendly incentives notably prompted hedge fund billionaires and native New Yorkers to relocate their businesses to Florida. I talked about this last year, I think it was last year, where I talked about 1,500 more investment bankers were being added to JP Chase Morgan for high net worth individuals with 10 million or more across a few states, Texas, California, and Florida. They have already predicted where more money is going to be growing, where you're going to have more people becoming high net worth individuals and advisors needing to reach out to them. So again, Texas, California, and Florida, right? And the data doesn't lie. So you want to know where the money is at, where the investors are at, what they're doing, what the banks are doing, who's becoming an accredited investor, who's lending money. Those are the places where you want to start looking at, right? And we talked about Houston and Dallas. We also talked about Florida. We talked about where the billionaires live, where the millionaires live. We talked about that. We talked about where the millionaires and the billionaires live, right? We're a talent business. I want to attract, I want to motivate, I want to retain the greatest talent in the world. And if the talent that wants to do it in Florida, that's where we'll support them. ARC Investments Management moved to St. Petersburg. That's been very huge. There's a tech exchange going on as well. That same year, a survey, a partnership for New York and New York City and major employers found that nearly a quarter of financial services plan to reduce New York workforce within 5 year time span. The Sun Belt appeal again. If I can't find the people that I need, I'm gonna create them or I'm gonna bring them with me. I'm gonna create them or I'm gonna bring them with me, right? The Sun Belt is continuing to change, no longer just a traditional industries like oil and gas, no longer just focused on tourism or just focusing on retirement community. The interim president of Brookings Institution and urban policy researcher. For companies, real estate, labor costs, taxes, and significantly cheaper compared to New York. Cast a wider net for talent by establishing hubs in new regions like Charlotte, Nashville, Dallas, and Palm Beach. Due to technological advances, employees no longer need to be tied to physical trading floors. Moving closer to certain customer bases also improves a firm ability to serve those demographics. For workers, warmer weather, lower cost of living, lower density, and no personal state income tax in places like Texas, Florida are certainly a draw, right? Again, last year, financial institutions paid $5.4 billion in state taxes, and that accounted for 24% of personal income taxes and so forth. So people don't want to keep paying that, right? They don't want to keep paying that. Follow the money. I think New York and California, I think, got the most millionaires. Let me look it up. Most millionaires by state. There was another one that was predicted to show where the list of millionaires were coming in at. So this was in 2020. California had the highest number of millionaires with 1.4 million households having 1 million or more in investable assets. This is nearly double the 650,000 households in Texas, with the second largest highest. But there was a thing that was talking about that I had that talked about where the new creation of millionaires was coming. So here's by state here, right? By state, millionaires by state, households with more than 1 million in investable assets. Washington State, Idaho, Nevada, Colorado, Georgia has 200,000. Wyoming and so forth. Let me see. Let me do this right here. Here we go. So we got California, Texas, New York, Florida. Those are where the top four, and Illinois, top five millionaires dead or alive. Top states with the most millionaires dead or alive: California, Texas, New York, Florida, Illinois, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and then Ohio, and then Virginia. So, why I'm telling you this information? Well, now when you start looking at migration and migration patterns, you need to understand where the millionaires are moving and also investing, and what companies are being moved into those areas, so you could get a piece of the pie, right? So you could get a piece of the pie. So, just some random knowledge. How about that? Random knowledge. All right. Gen Z. Gen Z. This article is about Gen Z. This article states Gen Z surpasses older generations in retirement savings and investing. It says Gen Z has taken over retirement savings game, leaving their predecessors in the dust. They have come to dominate the arena of financial planning and investing in the future. According to the report by Vanguard, workers between the ages of 18 to 24 were 32% more likely to invest in their workplace retirement than older colleagues were at the same age. This is impressive considering younger generations typically have lower participation rates because of their lack of knowledge and lower income. In fact, Gen Z participation rate was more than double that of its counterparts in 2006. The studies also found from 2006 to 2021, 97% of workers ages between 18 to 24 have invested between 41 to 99% of their 401k in stocks compared to just 25% in 2006. This is what they're saying about Gen Z. This is what they're saying about Gen Z, right? It says Gen Z have grown up in the world where technology is fully part of their daily lives. The generation is the most active mobile user and can use their devices to gather information and manage their finances, including investing in stocks through various technology platforms, which goes back to my thing about Charles Schwab, and so forth. Like being able to invest, get daily updates, see things, get information. I don't know how many of y'all follow Ben Zinga. I don't know if you follow Ben Zinga at all with their trading, their platform, their what they're doing every single day on their platform. The younger talks about what's happening, so forth and so on, right? Um, I don't know if you watch that. Look right here, deal alert. Save a massive $700 on Apple's 12.9 M1 iPad Pro, right? Talking about Bitcoin, just really just like what kind of news do you get every day? I follow them as well too. Like I follow them. Like here's the dividend calendar, like what's paying out in dividends and so forth. Um, we go back over here to news, and we can go over here and talk about what's the latest and greatest in IPOs. What's going on in the government space, right? What are they monetizing? If you invest $1,000, here's what they're talking about here with Vivek. I forget it. I hope I said his name right. And then two, what's going on internationally? Everybody's been talking about BRICS here. Everybody's been talking about that. I won't share a conversation I had about that. We'll keep that off of here. Very enlightening conversation, right? But again, coming here to look at different ideas. Again, blue chip stocks for those that are very focused on like I'm not going to invest in anything crazy. I'm going to stay blue chip. So blue chips are your Microsoft, your Amazons, your Coca-Cola, your I guess AppVi, Berkshire. This is the A. They also have a B. It's 540,000. American Express, Visa, Johnson and Johnson, United Health Group, Lockheed Martin, Home Depot, Pepsi Cola, Texas Instrument, blue chip stocks. A lot of people just invest in blue chip stocks, and that's all they do. Are very conservative. They may invest in some municipal bonds and stay very conservative. Some CDs and stay some bonds and stay conservative. Mutual funds, they'll stay there. Some people buy just real estate. Some people do REITs. It depends on what your appetite is, what your appetite for investing is, and also what your are you a an aggressive investor or not? Layoffs, money moves. Talked about the space industry. We talked about Shaq. I'll save the AI talk for the next show. Um, but I did want to talk about this. This is a good way to end. Let's have a discussion. This is a good way to end. It's actually two of them I want to talk about. And I want to get y'all take on it. I want to see if you've been paying attention. I want to see if you've been paying attention. All right. We live a rather lavish lifestyle. My wife and I are 33. They live in New York. They earn 270,000 a year, and they want to know if they can retire. It's not petty. It's not petty. It's not petty tea time, D. It's not petty. It's no petty. It's no petty. I'm asking questions. I could be a little petty, but yeah, I'm not gonna be petty on this. So the question is, can they retire at 55? So let's get into some details. So the details go like this. My wife and I are both 33, and let me blow it up because it looks a little small on your screen. Here we go. My wife and I are both 33 and lucky enough to have high paying jobs in New York City. And they say high paying jobs in New York City. So, I'm already skeptical. Like you say high paying, you say together they both make 270. I'm saying it's not enough, but that's my thought process, right? All right. So 270 a year. We own our home in Seattle. That home in Seattle is worth 500,000. It is rented out and covers the mortgage and it's cash flowing. We have zero debt outside of our mortgage. We have an emergency fund of 45,000. They rent their house in Brooklyn. Collectively, we max out our 401ks. He receives, I'm assuming it may not, yeah, because he said my wife and I. So yeah, this is he. He receives 8,500 a year for his pension, and we're also saving $53,000 towards retirement. Can they retire at 55? 1 for yes, 2 for no. 1 for yes, they're 33, and they want to retire in 22 years. Can they do it? Can they do it? They max out their 401k. He has 8,500 he gets from a pension. They got 53,000 that they're putting away for retirement, and they want to know if they're on scale to retire at 55. D says no. Dunn says no. Mario, you say no. Oh, we got no's coming through. Oh, tell me why y'all say no. Tell me why y'all say no. So maxing out, remember, for couples to max out their 401k is 23.5 for singles. Max out 401k married. What is it? They're at 270. All right, so that's an IRA. That's an IRA. Where's the 401k? Mm, 22.5. I guess it's the same. Yeah, married couples filing jointly if the spouse making IRA contributions is covered by the workplace retirement. The phase out ranges between 116 and 136. Okay, the IRA contributor who is not covered by the workplace retirement, married filing individually, it doesn't give it to me. So I'm assuming, also known as the savings contribution, 73,000 for married couples filing jointly, up to 68,000. Somebody says it's not enough because they don't have an emergency fund. They say they got an emergency fund for 45,000, right? Yeah, they have an emergency fund of 45,000. All right, let's go into it. Let's get into it. We have about 75,000 in our retirement accounts from our work in Seattle. They don't have any kids and likely don't plan on having any. We would like to retire at 50 to 50 from 50 to 55. And they said, are they saving enough? We live a rather lavish lifestyle. We travel a lot, we eat at nice restaurants and essentially buy what we want. I justify it because we're saving $50,000 a year between the two of them, 25 and 25. Mm, they need to put a little bit more away, 25 and 25, toward retirement and have zero bad debt. But part of me feels maybe we should cut back on our spending and contribute to our brokerage account or our backdoor Roth or our backdoor IRA, right? I think it would be better to invest in a pharmaceutical drug that people can't live without than to invest money that get inflated away. Well, that's what they said with Pfizer and all of the rest of them, right? So, all right, good news. There will be people reading your letter looking in vain for the problem. I say that it should give you some perspective. You are doing better than most Americans. I hate that comparison about most Americans. I want to be doing better than what I did last year. You have a property that is paying for itself, taxes and maintenance aside. Be a literal and figurative ATM when the mortgage is paid off at 33. This is funny. At 33, the age of Christ, you have another 20 years to allow your savings and portfolio to grow, and another 30 years if you decide to keep working, right? The average 401k balance for someone in their early 30s is 30,000 according to the data from Vanguard. And remember, 401 did y'all hear the story about all the new 401k millionaires that got added? Remember I told you could be a 401k millionaire? I talked about that. It's not a bad thing to have, not a bad problem to have, right? You expect that you could be much lower for your median balance, that is the middle number, without taking into account the variations in the balances across income groups. At the current rate you're saving, you and your wife will have approximately 1.8 million by the age of 55. Is that enough to retire for the next 20 years or the next 30 years, depending on how long they live, right? Right? So then it's assuming that the annual compounding of 9%. I'm gonna say they're not putting enough away. They need to put more away. The fact that plus the fact you have paid off your house by then will see you home and dry before you can say waiter check please. The problem with living in New York for young upwardly mobile professionals, kitchens are too small, people work 10-hour days, and when they're not working, they're on their way to the gym, and when they're not on their way to the gym, they're on their way to their therapist's office, and when they're not there, they're meeting friends for dinner because the kitchens are too small. Millions of Americans are worried about rising food prices and whether they can afford rent or mortgage and wondering if they will be able to retire. You have a different, more fortunate problem that's not unique among high earning New Yorkers. If you dine out on your savings now, you may end up being on a stricter budget in retirement, forever choosing from a limited number of options on the happy hour menu. New Yorkers spend $8,000 a year dining out, 130% more than the national average. Keep making contributions to your 401k. I would say increase that. If you have one, and build up your savings for a rainy day. You and your wife are earning six figures, but an annual salary of 100,000 feels more like $36,000 in New York. After taking on taxes and high cost of living in New York into account, according to the 75 largest cities from Smart Assets Online Personal Finance, I went over this last week, how 250,000 actually looks like what? Nothing. Looks like 86,000. How 100,000 looks like 36,000. I did a show on that last week. Leave room for sickness, job loss, divorce, and as the man says, to bear arms, barman, whatever you're having yourself. Cook more, spend less, see the world, leave the door open to working beyond 55. In other words, you need to leave some room for beyond 55 because you don't know what can happen in the next 20 years. You don't know if somebody gets sick, somebody loses employment, something happens in the market, you can't afford to live where you live, something happens to both of you all. I didn't see any talk about insurance. I didn't hear anything about insurance in here. I didn't hear anything about disability. I saw the emergency fund, but there are other things that I think the author could have went in more into as to what they want. But again, they can seek a financial planner for that as well too. Right? So the answer is no. The answer is no. Well, let's look at this one. I think you all are going to say yes to this one. I think you would say yes. All right, here we go. My husband and I have $6 million in retirement. What do you recommend for a couple who has everything? They got $6 million in retirement. All right. Let's talk about it. It says we now have 3 million, 2.5 million in stocks, cash, and CDs, and a $650,000 home. Right? We have not applied for Social Security, and we have an annual income of $250,000 for the next 15 years from the sale of our business. Now, this is retirement. This is retirement. Let's go back. Let's pull it back. Rewind it back. We now have 3 million, 2.5 million in stocks, cash, and CDs, and $650,000 in our home. We have not applied for Social Security, and we have an annual income of $250,000 that's going to get paid out to them for the next 15 years from the sale of a business. Who want that? Who want that for their retirement? Y'all okay with that for retirement? Y'all all right from that? Let me know, because I think it's pretty good retirement. All right, let's get into it. We're 64 and 66. They've been married 40 years. They live in Maryland. We're wealthy, blessed, and have no debt. We worked hard to maximize our retirement savings, and we now have 3 million and 2.5 million in cash and CDs outside of our retirement. We have not applied for Social Security yet, and we have an annual income of $250,000 for the next 15 years from the sale of our business. Our home is in a family trust, paid for and valued at $650,000. You see how organized this is? This is so organized to me. It's music to my ears. Right? We have 2 adult kids married with stable jobs, 1 grandchild. Oh, that grandchild spoiled. We do not have long-term care insurance and plan to self-insure if needed. We're generous to our church and local nonprofits and enjoy regular travel and hobbies. We do not spend extravagantly on stuff. Both of us will be retired in a few months. We'll be updating our estate plan, which is currently pretty simple and medical and durable power of attorney. What tips do you have to minimize taxes, maximize our holdings, leave a healthy nest egg for future generations, and what should I be asking financial planning attorney, and what type of trust should be in place? Right? Right? It didn't say they live in Maryland, D. They live in Maryland. All right. It says, "Dear happily." First, I'd like to apologize for the headline, but you certainly are a couple who has everything put another way, went out and got it. You have a savings, a home that is paid for. You like yourselves. You're ready for the next chapter of your life. Nice work if you can get it. The money should be asking you for advice. Congratulations and and many happy returns. Your story will inspire people. Let's face it, may irritate others, but you can't please everyone. All right. There comes a time when you need to bite the bullet and ask an advisor. Open-ended questions are such a good place to start with an advisor, as well as saying, "How can you help me?" As they are a bad place to start at a dinner party. So tell me about yourself. Do they know everything? No. Will they give you some guidance? Probably. Will they be secretly grinding their fingernails into the notepad as they find ways to advise you? Perhaps. They're only human after all. Everyone can use tips, and more money you have saved, the more tax advice you would need. Carrie Cabano, Senior Vice President and Director of Women and Wealth Advisors Capital Management in Winter Florida, Winter Garden, Florida, says you should make sure all cash certificate and deposits and dividend paying stocks are paying enough to justify not using municipal bonds. Defer Social Security and retirement account distributions as long as you can. Most people, I think, not everybody, you have to go look it up. Most people, I think, is 70 now, but that age keeps going up. That keeps going up. With a lot of money comes a lot of responsibility. Review your beneficiaries and perhaps set up a tax advantage college plan for your grandchildren. Analyze your individual holdings annually for realizing capital losses were possible to carry forward tax losses. You may use those tax losses towards your installment sale income, assuming its tax treatment is long-term capital gains, she adds. Limit portfolio distribution to 3 to 4% of fair market value annually. It says here he's telling them to spend more time with their friends. Probate is a financial equivalent of hanging out your washing to dry for all your neighbors to see. So consider transfer on death instructions, a revocable trust. If you wish to have your home avoid probate, avoid re-registering your home to a revocable trust. Alternatively, a qualified person, they got QPRT, qualified personal residence trust, is a specific type of irrevocable trust that will allow you to remove your home from your estate for tax purposes. Um, Tim Spice, partner of Eisen Advisory Group, suggests you think about annual gifts for your family. Remember the gift tax, I think this year is under 17,000, I think. Let me double verify that. I think the gift is 17,000. It was 16,000 last year, but I think it's this year 17,000. For 2023, the gift and estate tax exemption is 12.92 million per single person, or 25.84 million per married couple, right? It says there's no mention of life insurance. I didn't hear that. Contemplate obtaining life insurance and utilizing the trust to own the policy. The trust will help safeguard the proceeds, and if instructed properly, keep the proceeds out of your estate while allowing the trust to invest in income producing investments for growth. Lifetime gifts that don't qualify for annual exclusion will reduce the amount of gift and estate tax exemption. Of course, we can't complete your estate on these pages. That's why you should consult an estate attorney. Each state has a different set of rules. According to Cabano, Future suggests asking your estate plan attorney if there are specific estate plan vehicles unique to Maryland law. You've put in time and patience and hard work. That is the fun part. Enjoy your retirement and plan ahead to reduce your tax bill. Most importantly, you should enjoy the years ahead. Play tennis or bridge, whatever floats your boat. Go on a bucket list, travel to Japan and so forth. Spend time with your friends and family. You can buy yourself many things, but one thing that a $6 million retirement plan will give you is freedom to choose where you want to be and with whom you want to be with. And that whether you have 6 million or less is the biggest luxury of all. Right? So again, pushing the envelope. $1 million is not enough to retire. We've already seen that. They've already gone over this. Dave Ramsey has gone over this. The money guy has gone over this. Forbes has mentioned this. It's not enough. Get it out your head. You're going to need more. Can you do better with 2 people? Yes. Can you do better with 1 person? Yes. Can you do better by finding and structuring your foundation? I've not released this yet. I need to still update it. I'm still going back and forth with it. Da, 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 da. Let's go here. I'm not done with it, but I started this, and I need to change some of this. But nevertheless, let's make it a little bigger, right? I just did a minimum of 2.5 million in retirement at the top on this one right here, right? But again, calculate how much money you have made, paying off high interest debt, setting up your HSA and your 401k and your emergency fund, uh, creating your basic foundation there, and then moving up here and creating your investments, your stocks, your REITs, your life insurance outside of work, finding a CPA or CFP, attending Toastmasters is a reason for that, buying some land and insurance. This right here could be a private foundation, 401k, HSA. I thought about this right here. Your this is including of your foundation, but I may include private foundation. I ain't sure yet, and the list goes on. And here to paying off your debt right here. So you can probably pay off your debt among all of these lists here. But what does this look like? How can you achieve this 2.5 million in retirement? Well, in theory, you can make 300,000 for 10 years and invest 200,000 and live off maybe 100,000. But where are you living at on 100,000? So imagine if you had 2 people and both of you all together lived off of 200,000. So where are you living at, right? Where are you living at? And this is why I say you need to follow the money. You need to follow the money, right? But again, I'm still updating that. I haven't finished it out yet. I'm still percolating on some thoughts there. But yeah, we could reach the top of the hour. We reached the 2 o'clock mark. D, are you coming on for the next show or? Okay, so we're gonna do the next show. I guess in 30 minutes or so on Howie Linux. But again, you all have to get in the mindset of just because your friends are not doing it, don't mean you can't do it. And just because you all see everybody else doing something, go the opposite direction. Change, go in rooms where it ain't people that look like you. Go in other rooms. Be a part of something that you was like, I'm totally uncomfortable with doing this. Meaning, I have no idea who's here that even knows me or anything. And start networking with people. Ask them questions. If they don't walk up to you, walk up to them. Ask them questions, right? Find out what they do. Find out where they're at, right? You never know. You could be sitting next to some of the greatest minds of our time, and you just never know. All right. So again, thanks for going to apply for jobs at LPL. That's execution. I'm only presenting things you got to execute. People are out here. I showed jobs last week at 700,000, 500,000, 300,000, 400,000. And if you look at yourself in the mirror and you say that you can't do it, you're on the wrong platform. Over here, you can do it. What it takes is having structure, having patience with yourself, and investing in yourself and going along the timeline in order to do it. If you don't want to do those things, You're not gonna get there. $400,000 job ain't gonna just fall in your lap. It might for some people, but in theory, regularly, it just don't fall in your lap. If you don't apply for a job, they're not gonna come looking for you. If your resume ain't out there and it ain't up to date, they're just not gonna come looking for you. That's not how it works, right? And you also got to be your own champion, right? Just because your family tell you no, just be like, okay, then it's all right. Remember, sometimes when you start talking about money like this, people get uncomfortable. And it's not your fault that they get uncomfortable, right? But sometimes you just have to normalize them being uncomfortable. But like, yeah, I looked at this job, it's paying 400,000. And so I'm gonna see what they're talking about, and I'm gonna apply and do the interview and see if I can network with somebody, right? That's just what it is, right? Don't be afraid because of the number that they won't call you. They won't call you if you don't apply. They don't even know you exist. And sometimes being in the networks, somebody can hand drop your resume into a location. Somebody can walk your resume to the hiring manager. Sometimes the hiring manager may be sitting next to you and they hire you on the spot. You just never know, right? All right, y'all. I'll catch y'all on the next show.